Thank you for having me. I would like to welcome everybody to Zanzibar. I don't know how many regulators are in the room, other than our commissioner. Okay. Because I think this is something not only addressed to the insurance industry. Are there any actually in the room? I met two already. If you meet some actually, certainly they are not as older than. And I'd like to make a small correction. I've been practicing for 45 years, so not 35. Ms. Lindell is a qualified insurance accounting expert. She works for KPMG in South Africa. But what intrigued me, besides her 11 years in the external audit world, in her bio, she mentioned few years ago, I underlined her bio in front of me. Few years ago, I went into the IFRS 17. Not few months ago, few years ago. I'm very happy because this is something I'm going to talk about. Another thing is, she was primarily working for listed insurance companies. This is something also I would like her later on to talk about. To set the stage for today's session, I'd like to share with you a little bit background of IFRS 17. I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence, if you know it, so bear with me. IFRS 17 was created because of the financial crisis of 2008. When many banks and insurance companies went belly up, most fingers were blaming rating agencies because most of the organizations that went bankrupt were AAA rated. And the rating agencies are very smart. They said, we rate companies based on an accounting standards. And the accounting standard that we rate on is not forward-looking. If you want us to look into the future, you have to provide a different standard. The International Standard Board immediately introduced something called IFRS 9, and it was supposed to be applicable to all financial institutions in the world. Insurance companies jumped up and down. They said, we cannot apply IFRS 9 now. It is too much of a banking, really, standard. We want our own standard. So in 2010, the International Standard Board put a committee to look into a standard for insurers. Insurers, it means insurance companies, or any organization that take a premium, take money for future promise. In 2011, the International Actuarial Association was involved, the accounting committee, which I'm very proud to be a member of. We started looking on that draft computation samples, going back and forth with the ISB. In 2015, the standard became a little bit almost clear. Insurance companies by that time, they realized this potential standard, once it becomes in effect, we need several years to implement. I mentioned here several years to implement. This is why when 2017 saw the light, it was given an implementation deadline into 1/1/2022. As a previous commissioner in Tanzania, in an event like this, said once, thank God for COVID because it delayed the implementation 1 year. I would like to tell you, the standard is not made for every insurer. It is mandatory for listed companies worldwide. The standard is about disclosure and protecting the investor. Has nothing to do with protecting the policyholder. It's a nice standard. It's a good standard. But the intention of the standard is to protect investors. So an investor sitting in Tokyo buying shares of an insurance company in Paris or New York, he wants to look at an accounts that he can understand and then decide the value of that company. Whether they want disclosures. So it is meant for investors. Private insurance companies, the owner is either running the company or the owner has access to the management. He picks up the phone and will tell the gentleman, give me whatever I want. So he has all the disclosures. So privately owned insurance companies do not need IFRS 17. It's nice to have, but it's not needed. So now the question is, how come IFRS 17 being implemented in Tanzania or many other jurisdictions? Because many countries in the world, they do not have their own accounting standards. They have subscribed to international accounting standards. So all of you, or most of you, have been having your account based on IFRS 4. So now you are going to be audited in 2023, and the auditing community may need to audit you on a standard. The audit community should have communicated with regulators saying, you know, we are going to be doing this. I blame the auditing community, sorry, I blame the auditing community 4 years ago or so to communicate with the regulator and say, what are your plans for the insurance industry? Are you going to apply 2023 or are you going to give extensions? Talking about extensions, Taiwan gave an extension to 2024. Philippines gave an extension to 2025. Many countries have given extension to 2026 for the privately owned companies. For publicly listed companies, there is no extensions. So the regulator has the power to give an extension. Why do we need an extension, in my opinion? Because the regulator has spoken to consultants and asked them, how long do you need to get this IFRS 17 going? And many consultants, I'm one of them, said, we need 4, 5, 6 months. So the regulator felt comfortable. Sent a roadmap to insurance company and told them within the next 4, 5, 6, 7 months, whatever, you have to be IFRS 17 compliant. But the thing is, it's not a matter of getting the gap, the impact assessment, and the design within time frame. It is what's after the design. You need to be audited on IFRS 4 and having a parallel run on IFRS 17 for at least 1 year or 2 years to mitigate the differences. Because in IFRS 17, you are discounting a lot of liabilities of the future. Many companies, and this is why a regulator asks you to do impact assessment. Okay, if they ask you to do impact assessment and you found the results, but you have no time to do any rectification. You cannot do any changes. Now, technically speaking, if you are privately owned, no big deal, because most of the time you don't publish your accounts. And if you have changes, the insurers will understand the differences, but the issue is bigger than that. It is not the bottom line. The issue is, do you have the human resources? My colleague in that way will at Grand Prix. We're talking about challenges, we're talking about capacity. We do not have enough capacity to go through the IFRS 17. And when we don't have enough capacity, consultants like us take advantage of it. We charge a lot of money to do the work for you. If you don't have that pressure, you can take your time and shop around for consultants, build up your capacity, and do the job comfortably. So I do urge regulator to give you time. It is, we lose money, but I believe for the benefit of the industry, we don't have enough actuaries, we don't have even enough auditors to understand IFRS 17. So my message is, I beg the regulators in countries of your operation to give you extension. That does not mean you stop the ball rolling. I'm happy the regulator put their foot in the ground, because if they didn't put, you wouldn't have started thinking about IFR 17. But right now they say implementing is 2024 or 2025. Take your time, build your capacity, choose the right IT system, and so on and so forth. I was asked a little bit earlier about prices, but I think we leave it to the panel discussion.